still have senior journalist Kumar Ketkar, who of course keeps a close eye on all these developments in Maharashtra. Mr. Ketkar, you just heard what DP Tripathi of the NCP had to say. What is your reading of the situation? Is the atmosphere, is the ground not being built for Ajit Pawar's withdrawal of resignation?
Well, actually, if you look at the situation, and as explained by Mr. DP Tripathi, it clearly shows what tightrope walk this NCP leadership is having, because they have to attack the government that is led by Prithviraj Chauhan and at the same time pretend that the government is not being destabilized. When he mentioned about the white paper, and which he called as a black conspiracy of the white paper, he is obviously criticizing and condemning Prithviraj Chauhan, the chief minister, because according to him, the conspiracy apparently is hatched by the chief minister. That's why he said black conspiracy in the form of white paper. So they want to condemn the chief minister. They want to perhaps change the chief minister. They want to perhaps stop the inquiries that he has launched, and yet pretend that everything is hunky-dory as far as the alliance goes. As everybody knows in Maharashtra, the main enemy of the NCP is Congress, and the main rival of the Congress is NCP, and the opposition parties, so-called communal parties led by BJP and Shiv Sena, are a facade. Basically, the competition, the rivalry, the enmity is between NCP and Congress, and that has surfaced in the form of Ajit Pawar's resignation.
But Mr. Ketkar, it appears this crisis, which resulted from Ajit Pawar's resignation, is precipitating to something bigger, which is why it appears that the chief minister's position is also a little vulnerable here. What do you make of the chief minister's position after Ajit Pawar stumped almost everybody yesterday by resigning?
Well, chief minister's position was apparently vulnerable for quite some time, or was described as vulnerable for quite some time, and not because of Ajit Pawar's resignation. It was partly a result of protests coming from the NCP ranks as well as from the Congress ranks, because Prithviraj Chauhan's style of functioning is totally different than the style people are used to in Mantralaya. He is a clean administrator. He does not sign any paper unless he has properly investigated, and therefore many people who have vested interest in rushing the files are quite upset with him, irrespective of the party, whether it is Congress or NCP. And therefore there was resistance right from start. And another thing is Prithviraj Chauhan himself does not apparently have a social and political base in Western Maharashtra from where he comes. He, according to most of the congressmen, has been implanted from Delhi by the High Command, and therefore there is that resistance, which has always been there in Maharashtra, resistance to the High Command's nomination. Whether it was during Antule's time, Antule was opposed by the local MLAs, Babasaheb Bhosle was opposed by local MLAs. Every time a nomination comes from Delhi, local MLAs of the Congress as well as naturally this time NCP, that time NCP didn't exist, have opposed. So this is not really surprising.
Right, which is why the timing of this resignation is also a little suspect, because we know there is a impending cabinet reshuffle that's set to take place. NCP, it's no secret that NCP wants Prithviraj Chauhan out, and it actually may want that he should go back to Delhi where he came from, which is why the resignation at this time, because the charges, as I said, of corruption and this scam have been swirling for a really long time.
But in case Prithviraj Chauhan is really sent back to center, would it not mean a victory of the NCP? And would Congress concede victory to the NCP so easily? So actually, Ajit Pawar's resignation, if it was aimed at Chief Minister's resignation or transfer, then in effect he has strengthened Chief Minister's hands, because Congress will not be ready to function under any kind of blackmailing threat from anybody, resignation or otherwise. So if otherwise Congress was indeed planning in the next cabinet reshuffle at the center for Prithviraj Chauhan to be shifted to Delhi, then naturally they will have to think twice, because it will be seen now.
Mr. Ketkar, I request you to just stay with us for a while longer. Let's in fact listen to one of the NCP leaders speaking to Sahil Joshi.
उसके तहत उन्होंने ये राजीनामा दिया।
दादा अगर इस्तीफा मंजूर भी होता है, उसके बावजूद भी अलायंस बना रहेगा?
हाँ जरूर, आदरणीय पवार साहब जी का जो आदेश है उसके तंतोतंत पालन होगा।
हमसे बात करने के लिए शुक्रिया। तो अंजना, आपने देखा कि किस तरीके से जो